Let's do it.
Okay, we're back, man. It's episode 4 with Inside the Red Truck.
Episode 4 already, man.
Yep,
Here,
it is.
do this thing. And we got it a lot better today. It's not just us ugly old faces in here today. We got some people with us today.
Yep.
You want to introduce them out?
We do, yeah. So today we got Megan Wolfe. You're the Director of Community Services, right, with the City of Yucaipa?
That's right.
Elise Campbell, Community Services Coordinator.
Yes.
Cool. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm a proud Yucaipian myself. Mike, I know they don't consider you Yucaipian. I think your address would be Redlands, though, right? But
is it Yucaipa, buddy?
Yeah,
I'm right on the borders.
You are on that border. So, yeah, all of us, a whole 4 Yucaipians in the house this morning.
It's a good town.
And we both work there and live there. So
Do you really? Both of you guys are in sisters and neighbors? Very cool.
Yeah, I've been living there 3 years now. We love it. My family loves it.
Where'd you move from?
Beaumont. I lived in Redlands. We had a rental house out in Beaumont. For a while, we moved into that while we were trying to decide where we wanted to go. And then Yucaipa, I'd always liked it because I come from the South. I grew up in the South. I grew up on a farm. And so Yucaipa has a little bit more of that rural feel to it, although it's growing rapidly. But so we found a little, it's almost like a ranch. It's a little close to 2-acre property.
Oh, that's
there.
awesome.
So yeah, it was beautiful.
Cool
I
spot.
love living up there. Yeah.
Yeah, we're from, our family's always been out there. My brother was from there originally, and then we decided to move up about 15 years ago now. So I love it in that town. It's very cool. Yeah, we used to go up. I remember when I was younger, we'd go up. We had a friend who owned a turkey farm up there, and we'd buy his turkey ranch. We'd go up and get our turkeys, and it was like back roads and just totally different from what it is now, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the Yucaipa thing, right? Like I grew up, and there was no Chapman Heights, right?
Right.
So when I grew up, I graduated high school in '92, right? I'm an old guy. I'm 50. I'm probably the oldest one at the table. So when I grew up, we'd drive up through Yucaipa, and it was scary. I mean, at nighttime, it was dark as all get out. You'd be driving up Oak Glen Road, and it was scary. It was dark out there. And, now, I try to explain that to my kids, and they can't even visualize it. And I would tell them, from those mountains over there to this road, that was orange groves.
Yes.
Orange grove thousands upon thousands of orange trees. And it's weird for them because we take them hiking up, up to the top of the mountain right there. And it's funny, I tell them, man, this is a different valley than it used to be.
Yeah, so we want to bring you guys on because, we partnered with you guys last year with a lot of events, and that's kind of like our focus to expand into the next town. Redlands we do really well in. Yucaipa is starting to grow into that, but that's become kind of a big focus for us. So we want to talk to you guys about, you're responsible for the events, and so we wanted to kind of get into that and, what goes on and what the plans are for the future with that stuff. So let's see. Let's get into.
Well, we appreciate you having us.
Yeah.
And, as you mentioned, being a partner, it's really been great, I think, for us as well to partner together to just offer our events to not only the community of Yucaipa, but also to get out into the surrounding communities and let them come and visit and check out our events. So
it's the hidden gem, right? I mean, that's the Redlands. Everybody used to say that about Redlands all the time, is that it's the hidden gem. And I think Yucaipa's kind of, with the uptown turning into what the uptown is kind of turned into up there. I mean, I can't count how many times my family and we like to shout out to Rebels. We love Rebels burgers, right?
It's a good spot.
And so shout out to Rebels. We go to Rebels all the time and eat there. And
it's got a fun vibe.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Well, the whole area does. It's kind of funny. I find myself at night sometimes when my wife has me run an errand or something at night. I could easily take E down, but I'm like, no, let's go through town and see what's going on tonight. See if the bands are playing in the restaurants or whatever the case might be. And so I think now you're finding more of that, especially since they've kind of redone. A lot of people are hearing about it now when they hear the Live Oak Halloween and Christmas and Pumpkin Patch and the Christmas. I mean, it's heck, this year they had ads for that on Channel 7.
Yeah,
it's become a destination.
It was a big thing. So it's kind of neat to see it, watch it grow.
Yeah, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about yourself, Megan? Why don't you kind of give us your background and a little bit about you?
Yeah. Well, as you introduced, I'm the Director of Community Services for the City of Yucaipa. I get to lead a wonderful department of right around 14 individuals that put on programs and services for the community of Yucaipa. We have senior programming, youth programming, adult programming. We have sports, special events. We have a performing arts center. We have an after-school program where we partner with the Yucaipa-Calamasa Joint Unified School District to provide a program where children can go.
Is that the
after
STARS
school.
program?
That is.
My daughters are both in that.
Oh, very cool. Well, we get to partner with the district on that, as well as the crossing guard program. We still have a lot of people that ride their bikes to school, walk to school, scooters, what are the new things like the e-bikes, the e-scooters, and so we partner with the school district to help provide a safe route to school. We have really great community partners, such as the sports organizations, Little League, softball, soccer.
Yeah, my daughters are both doing the Yucaipa Youth Basketball League right now.
YYB, how old are they?
Yeah, my 12 and 9.
Very cool.
My son just did that last season too. It was great. He didn't want to go play basketball anymore, but I thought it was great. It was we had a good time doing it. Yeah, it was
my
very
kids
cool.
have done it since the first time. I think it's like level 1, 2, or first, second grade, and
Oh, cool.
so they did it starting then. And this year's actually my daughter's last year. She's in 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
And so YYB goes up to 8th grade, but they have this amazing opportunity, similar to soccer and a few other sports in town. Is they offer youth an opportunity to be a ref, or for soccer to be an for baseball to be an ump, or obviously you have to look into the leagues, but YYB offers this opportunity for them to be refs. And I know sometimes those 1-2 parents are like, what, come on, ref, and you're like, they're in 7th grade or 8th grade, they're learning. And it was funny because I was like that as a parent of my 1-2 first grader, but then now that my child has the opportunity to ref and she's coming home and she's like, I gotta be at work on time.
That's very cool.
Well, this coach yelled at me. It's such, I can see the full circle now.
Yeah.
I can see how much these organizations not only give back to the youth that are participating in, to the parents that have the kids, but also then to the teens that are looking to enter that job force.
Yeah, what a good experience, right? I mean, I know I started out young in life. I mean, my first experience working was the University of Redlands, right? Mowing grass, being the low of the low, right? I mean, mowing grass, trimming hedges, but it gave you that moment, that first paycheck that you earned. What a proud feeling, right? I'll never forget
nothing like that.
Yeah, I'll never forget that feeling of that first time. And I remember I wanted to take my mom and dad out to lunch because I felt cool. All these times, you really don't, until that first paycheck, you never really think about what something costs until it's your money, your time, your effort. And so, I definitely think, that's one of the great things about the position that you guys are in. What a cool little, we always talk about here at Redlands, at Redlands Plumbing, Heating and Air, we want that small town feel, even though we want to grow and, serve multiple communities. We want to, have that small town feeling. You really feel that in Yucaipa, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It feels like a small town feel, even though it's growing, it's getting a lot bigger, faster. And, some days you're like, oh my God, this place is growing just leaps and bounds. It's beautiful in moments like the Yucaipa basketball league for the kids, or, same families year after year. And, my daughter did the Girl Scouts up in Yucaipa, and same families, and it's just, it got that really small knit feel, and I love that.
If I didn't live in Yucaipa, I think I'd probably be in Colorado or Texas or wherever. Now it's like that's the town that keeps me anchored to California with everything going on. It's like everybody's moving out of town, but that's like our little pocket of you're hidden away up there. It feels like a small town. I can go 10 minutes and I'm in the mountains, and it's nice. It's a different town. I grew up in Riverside, and I don't want to speak ill of Riverside, but I don't enjoy Riverside anymore. I go through there.
It's just a big city feel.
Yeah, we have a business out there. I drive out there for occasionally to go do whatever we need to do, and it's like, the traffic is just unbearable, and it's just it's so different from what we have.
Yeah, I started my work career in Corona, and I love Corona as a city, but anything you have to do in Corona, traffic is ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you don't make it out of there by a certain time, you got a 2-hour drive home, and you're 30 miles away from home, and it's like, man, I want staying local, and that's the great thing about our company and partnering with people like yourselves, just really making sure that people understand that they do have, they don't have to go to a national brand for something. They have a local company who's committed to the community, who wants to be a part of that community. And that's why, it's been great having Mike here. Mike's been just hit his first year.
Oh, thanks.
It's been great to have Mike here because Mike has really done a good job of that community outreach. And so partnering with people like yourselves and getting out there. I mean, Yucaipa, you listed off a few, but what are some of those big brand events that we do throughout the year there in Yucaipa? Like, I know we have that music fest. And what are some of those big events that you guys are hosting? And then we'll introduce you out, and we'll go from there.
Can't be leaving her out.
If it's okay, I'll say a few more things and then I'll transition over to Elise. So one of the other programs that I just don't want to forget is a partnership with Crafton Hills College, which also is that really unique, amazing thing that I've worked for a few cities that this city is able to continuously maintain partners to provide programming and services for the community. And that partnership is we have the Olympic pool from the Olympic trials. I think it was in 2004.
Well, that's what they did. No kidding. I didn't know that.
I think that was 2004, 2003 maybe.
Wow, that's cool.
And it was a pool that was a Mirtha pool built in Long Beach. And the city purchased that pool, and then we partnered with the college and put the pool at the college.
How crazy!
And now the Yucaipa swim team uses the pool.
That's
Grand
cool.
Canyon Water Polo uses the pool. The city maintains an agreement with those organizations as well as the college. The community can go and swim all year long.
Oh wow,
that's
as
great.
well as the college now is able to offer aquatics programs, water polo team, a swim team, and I just think it's one of those things that make this town very unique.
So parents can take their kids over there and go swimming anytime? No kidding. I didn't know. I live across the street from it. I had no idea.
Yep. Now it is a full. There's no shallow end, so you do have to know how to swim. It's more of a lap swimming pool.
Right.
But we do have a pool that has a shallow end over at 7th Street, and we offer swim lessons and things like that during the summer.
That's where my girls did their swim lessons. We lived in Redlands at the time, but we actually came up to Yucaipa, had them do their swim lessons there at the 7th Street Park.
Yep, me too.
Those are the fun little things, right? Where the memories are made. It's funny. My first introduction to Yucaipa was as a kid going up. Now they don't have it anymore, but they used to have the golf course there at Crafton Hills College. So we would all head up there during high school and junior high. And, it was a little 6-hole course. And man, you got your walking in. I mean, you were hiking and golfing at the same time. It was a fun day, but what a fun experience, And,
that was a cool course. I'm sad it's gone.
That hole number 6 was my favorite, teeing off on the mountain, looking down and just swinging away. I think I lost probably about 1,000 golf balls on that hole. I'm sorry. That's neither here nor there.
We won't talk about that.
No.
Speaking of golf, Elise and I occasionally golf together.
Do you really?
So she is an amazing golfer.
Not me.
That word in golfing has never been in the same sentence.
No, me neither.
Amazing and golf.
That's why you were looking at the golf plaques out there, huh?
I saw it, yes, yeah. So.
Where do you like to play around here?
Oh, right here in Yucaipa.
Yeah, right up. Another one that used to be a fun course was the Calamasa Country Club.
I never golfed there.
I loved golfing there, and they had an amazing breakfast burrito. Sorry, to bring in the chunky Marshall, any place that has a good breakfast burrito, I probably know about it.
All right, that's funny. Well, Elise, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, yeah. So I oversee the special events for the community service department, and so a lot of that entails with coordinating the egg hunts that we have coming up. Speaking of the partnership with the Crafton Hills, we're doing a 5K with them. That's going to benefit their athletic program, so that's going to be at the end of April. And then talking about the staples of events, and our big one coming up is our Music and Arts Festival.
Yeah, every year that one's big.
Yes, yeah.
That's in May,
our largest.
Is that right? Is that when?
Yes, May.
Yeah,
this year it's May 2nd and 3rd.
Cool.
First year I lived there, I moved in on Easter Day, and that weekend, I believe it's the weekend after Easter or right around
It's
there.
close, yeah, it's within a few weeks.
And all of a sudden we're sitting, our house has a pool, and we were sitting out in the back, and my wife and I are like, why does it sound like somebody's just going to just rock and roll? But you could tell it was a distance, but man, it was booming. And it was that festival. We're like, what is going, we were brand new to Yucaipa, and then we drive down, the streets are blocked, and obviously we hadn't prepared for that. So it was kind of fun, right? That was our first weekend as a Yucaipian, and we got to go and enjoy the festival. So what dates are that for this year?
So it'll be May 2nd and 3rd. So it's a Friday, Saturday. We keep it to a 2-day weekend.
Okay.
And,
How long has that been going?
This will be the 13th year. I
Is
believe.
it?
Yeah,
Wow.
13th.
Very
So,
cool.
Who's the headliner this year?
Megan singing.
Oh my goodness.
Podcast and
up
singer.
there. We
huh?
are
Wow.
No, I don't think we've made an announcement yet. No,
We have not.
All right.
Performing, but we've got some entertainment lined up. I think in the past we've had Plain White Tees,
Yeah.
Thompson Square,
Yeah.
Berlin. I think a few years.
I don't
back.
know who was there was that one last year. Remember the one that did the Green Day?
The cover bands were
Oh,
great. The
Green
Green Day
Today.
band was
It was amazing.
I thought
Green
the
Today.
same. I was
that band.
We
We were
were
working that-
rocking
I know.
out,
If you
dude.
shut your eyes, you couldn't tell it wasn't them. I was blown away. That was really
Yeah,
cool.
there was some cover bands there
I think
last
we
year.
did No Duh.
No doubt. Oh yeah, No Doubt was good too. She was great. Yeah,
That was a
really
good
well.
time.
So we're excited to bring it back this year and continue the tradition of making it what it is and building on it. And we're working on bringing some new ideas and new activities to the festival just to kind of keep it fresh.
That's cool. What are some of the upcoming events for 2025? The big ones. What's the opportunities that are available
So
out
we have
there?
the music fest.
Yeah, so the
obviously.
Music and Arts Festival, Autumn Fest in the fall, and our Winter Fest are our 3 largest festivals that take place in the Uptown. And those see 10 to 12,000 people. I
Come
don't want
through.
to say
Yeah.
over the
Yeah, they're
course of the
busy.
weekend. So there's a lot of planning that gets involved with them. A lot of vendors. Actually, we're revising our vendor guide this year. I think.
Are you?
There's last year was our first year. I think overseeing vendors completely on our own.
Wow.
In the past, it was partnered with the Chamber of Commerce,
Okay.
the Yucaipa Chamber of Commerce, and so
How did that work out for you guys?
it was eye-opening.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
We invested into a software called Event Hub that kind of streamlines the application process and the payments for all the vendors. It gives vendors an idea of the layout and where they can pick their spot and pay for their spot and kind of know their expectations and the policies up front. So
It's cool.
Is there a website out there if there's vendors that might hear this podcast that might want to hone their craft there at that? What would that website be?
It would be our community services page.
Okay.
So yucaipa.gov/community-services.
Well, we can find it there.
And so
Are there still slots still open? Or are there still room for people? Or
we haven't opened registration yet.
Okay,
So
good.
that's going to come open in February. We're
Okay.
finalizing all the details and policies for that. So we are opening that in February.
awesome.
I think that's one of the really great things about events is that each year you really have that opportunity to grow and get better and have those wrap-up meetings with your partners, your sponsors, and making sure they saw the value in it, making sure they got the foot traffic, and then the same with us, like really analyzing ourselves. And so one of the things is like get vendors open, opportunities open as soon as possible. Well, what we learned is some vendors forget they registered.
Yeah.
And
Like it's too early.
Yep. And then they
See that?
Double book or
Well, when you're
Yes,
when you're doing
exactly
shows every
that.
weekend, that's a lot to keep track of. You're right.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think something else throughout my career that I've learned is that you can't be good. I know a lot of people know this and it took me years to figure it out, but you can't be good at everything.
Yeah.
So if you're
my wife will testify. Not very many things.
Talking about you.
Yeah, he's not gonna.
So when you're this vendor, you're like, oh, this event opened up. I'm
Right.
signing up for it. Well, you got to make sure you put that in your calendar, that you paid for it, that you read the rules, that there's no refunds.
Yeah.
And so, what we're learning is we say no refunds, vendors register, they forget, they're not going to show up. We don't want to empty space, but then we have to try to fill it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so then they're saying, well, I'm not going to pay. We're like, you already paid. And so there was no refunds. Well, then this new thing to us is the credit card disputes.
Oh, yes.
And they're like,
yes.
You never win on those either. I mean, ever. I've owned my own business,
I got one more day. I got
I've never
one more
won.
day on one.
Yeah, do you get the same?
Did we win?
I don't know. I think today's the last day.
Really? It's so frustrating.
Listen, Elise is so detail oriented. I always say she is everything I'm horrible at, she's good at.
Yeah.
And
Makes
so
a perfect team.
it really does. So this last one, she attached a screenshot of everything, so we have till tomorrow. But it's such a bummer because it's like we don't want to take her notes.
Of course.
But at the same time, I'm sure some of you know that are listening, but the city has gone through some challenges in these past couple of years.
For sure.
And we really are a city that wants to provide for our community.
Right.
And these events have been a staple. Yucaipa started them, what did I say, 13, 14 years ago. And we want to continue having them, but we had to make a change this past year. And that change meant, unfortunately, we couldn't partner with our nonprofits anymore to give that revenue to them and their nonprofits. We had to reassess the business model.
For sure.
And we had to say, okay, how do we first recoup the total cost of these events? And then if there's opportunity outside of that, how do we manage that? How do we navigate that?
Well, and I don't think a lot of people, and again, it's not their business to have to worry about how to run a business.
Right.
But when you have moments like this, as much as you want it to be beneficial for the city, you want it to be beneficial for the vendors, you want it to be beneficial for all the people that are attending. Unfortunately, there's costs to running these.
That's right.
Massive costs.
That's
I mean, I'm sure you got police activity that you have to pay for, right? Closures of streets. You know, and so I think a lot of people just really don't understand all the inner workings, you know, and it makes it frustrating sometimes, right? Because you're like, look, we're just trying to make this continue to work, because to continue to function, especially as cities and states are looking to control budgets, to cut down on where can we cut costs. You know, I love that you're not trying to cut any of the services to the city, but we do have to make them achievable.
That's right.
And you know, I can definitely understand that. You know, I can tell you last year we were actually very impressed at how well it was ran. I mean, one of the things that one of the things that we really liked was the amount of foot traffic, right? I mean, you go to some events and it's a graveyard, and there's, you know, you got 5 or 6 people walking around. But when I was there, I mean, you were literally having to wait because people were moving in and out, and our booth got a lot of traction there. So I would definitely tell anybody that's thinking about this event, it's definitely good events to go to. I mean, that music event was popping. It was fun. It was great. It was a good time. My kids really enjoyed it.
Well, you speaking from the other side of the table, you know, one thing I think we've talked about this is that the difference with Yucaipa for us and why we're so excited to partner with you guys and do all these things is because if you have experience, I have experience working in the industry of doing events. I did that for years when I was younger, and then also working from this as a marketing person and working with your city it's 10 times easier than most of the cities we work with. Without naming any names, there's events that used to be great, and because of bad management and making it so you come in to try to be a vendor or a sponsor, and there's red tape after red tape, and it creates an atmosphere of not being welcomed, right?
Right.
Well, and I loved what you said earlier. You said afterwards we took we took those moments of reflection to say, what could we have done different, right?
Yeah.
And you said you've came up with a new vendor model and things like that. That's definitely, I love that, because I'm the trainer here at our company, and that's something that we do, we ask our guys to do after every single call. How could that have gone better?
Yeah.
What could, you know, even if the call we feel like it went well, there was always room for improvement. There's always an area for growth, and so, you know, we strive for that on every single call. We actually we monitor all of our calls, and one of the things that we do is we listen to them as a group. That way we can see where was those areas of opportunity. Because
I've always wondered if people really know how they say your call's being recorded. I'm like, who listens to this?
we do. That's a huge part of my job.
We will do.
I'm actually the next conference call I have after this one is about that specifically. It's huge though.
Yeah.
Because sometimes even when you think things went well, there's always room for improvement. And, you know, as a company, we have a motto in our training room that our area of opportunity lies in our deficit. So our job after every single call or every single week is to identify that deficit. Where did we have that? Even if it's this much room for growth. Let's take that opportunity, right? Let's become bigger, faster, and stronger by identifying where we didn't do well and get better there. And I think that's what you guys are saying that you guys do after these events. I think that's definitely a recipe for success, right? Because even if you felt like, man, we filled every vendor slot, you know, our ticket sales were great. what could we have done different, right? And that's such a big
Absolutely.
piece of that.
I agree. And I think that it's something also that I say this a lot with our staff is like, we're not going to be the greatest event you've ever been to. We're not going to have the best talent you've ever seen. We're not going to have all these things, but you know what we are going to have? The best relationships with those that your interactions are with. So if it's a vendor who shows up, at 6 a.m. to load in, we're not like, hey, it's like, we're that smiling face, like, good morning, how are you?
Yeah.
We talk about this at our Performing Arts Center. Artists, when we book artists, they have this really, really detailed form that you get of what they want, what they expect. And 9 times out of 10, we have to say, we're sorry, but we can't give you all of this.
Sure.
We're not Yamava, we're not, Live Nation. We want to provide these opportunities for people to come buy tickets and watch your show, but we can't separate those green M&Ms.
Yeah.
But
The rider is.
But what we can do is give them that phenomenal experience.
Yeah.
Greet them at the door, treat them as a person, treat them as we want to be treated. And the best part about that is our team, Mary Johnson and her team over at the YPAC, have had countless emails back from not just artists, but their agents, their managers saying, wow, you guys were so great. You guys were so kind.
Cool.
We'll come back anytime.
Just go ahead and cut this one, Mike. We can share hers.
All right.
So I think that's it. That's that difference that you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that's big for us, why I enjoy it, is because when we ask for something, as long as we're not coming in asking for some wildly different change, you guys are always just like, sure, go for it, whatever you want to do. It's because it's I think a lot of cities forget that you shouldn't create jobs just to create problems for people or whoever's involved in the community or the city events. I mean, it goes across the board. There's one city I can think of that it's like everything they can do to say no is what they love to do and just create an issue. It's a completely different thing. We don't do business with that city because of the fact it's just a nonstop no's and red tape, as far as
Let me
events.
ask you this. What about the parades there? Are you guys part of that as well? Or?
So we oversee the special event permits. If you want to have any special event outside of a city event, you have to submit a permit. So the Rotary Club of Yucaipa actually puts on the Yucaipa Christmas Parade.
Oh, okay,
I
cool.
think originally it was the Lions Club. A few years ago, Rotary took over. The city provides a lot of services. We close the roads. We provide public works staffing, police staffing. We help with trash pickup, street sweeping, make sure that all gets handled. But the Rotary does really the big.
So they
lift.
organize the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's great.
and that's that partnership that used to be. All of our events were done that way, but again, then we had to pivot. We had a problem that was put in front of us, and we have an obligation to our residents to make sure we have a safe city, and that includes police, fire, and infrastructure, and also community services and programs. But
Sure.
we've got to council directs us at what cost, what
Yeah.
it looks like.
Let's talk about the Country Music Festival. Is that I saw that it's happening again? Is that right?
Yeah.
So I know we talked about it, making sure that had to hit a certain number to to continue, and I guess it did that.
We have put the Five Winds Country Music Festival. We put it on sale right after last year's event. We got a lot of really positive feedback. We still need to grow in ticket sales and numbers. I think it's one of those things where we need to get the information out, right? How do people process information? I think we could all agree that today's day and age, maybe that's not your challenge at Redlands.
It is. It's daily. It is. It's very much.
That name awareness.
There's things you put out that I'll put out, and I'm like, this is gonna hit. Like this one's gonna be big, and it's like,
Well, let me ask you this.
just falls off.
Where was that located in?
Yeah.
Yucaipa? Was it at the Community Arts Center? Or?
Nope. It's up the hill, up Oakland Road. What's the name of that area right there? Is it?
So the city owns a property called El Dorado Park and
That's right.
Five Winds
Yeah.
Ranch.
Okay.
It was gifted from a conservancy, and so the property, I think actually the usable space that we're allowed to host events and things is right around 12 acres.
Cool.
It's the last property right before you hit Oak Glen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you want to talk about the most beautiful views.
Oh, it's just that was a great event. That view at night when you're watching the stage and the background is lower Yucaipa. It's just
And you
wild.
enter in at El Dorado. I don't know if you've ever been there. Great hiking.
Yeah, I've seen it. I know they
Yeah.
have the rest area there,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
Yeah, I used to be a bicyclist, so I used to bicycle
yeah.
when they were building that.
Yep.
I would ride by that. What is the dates for that this year?
October 11th and 12th, I believe.
10th and 11th.
Oh, 10th and 11th.
October 10th. And have we decided headliners this year? Do we have any?
Can't say, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you got it.
Just tell us after the show. We'll keep a secret.
We'll definitely keep everybody informed. Follow us. We have a Five Winds Festival website. We have social media. So.
What's your favorite events to do? Either of you guys.
Oh, I think mine would be Autumn Fest.
Is it? How come?
I love the fall.
Yeah.
Car show was a big thing. When I was younger, my dad would take me to car shows all the time in Highland at the Rosemarias.
Oh, yeah.
But so Autumn Fest and the car show for me is probably the best event that I.
You get a lot of cars. It's a good turnout for that.
It was huge this year. We had over 100 cars.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was shocked at how many.
And
It's cool.
we had a huge turnout that first night. I think it's been growing over the past couple of years.
And that's in Uptown, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Takes place on what, Friday? The Friday night? Yeah. Yeah, that
The
one was
really
really
cool
good.
thing is they're allowed to cruise, so they cruise from round. I know. Look, roundabout's a big controversy.
Oh,
but if
that's
there's
the talk of the town. If you use those correctly, they work really well.
do.
It's amazing
They do.
how well, because you can just drive up and just
Yeah.
drive right
Well,
through.
what's so funny, and we actually just had this, my son is going through his driver's and he's doing his online to become a driver, and so I'm trying to push him because I'm ready to have somebody run the 7-Eleven for me. But one of the things that makes me laugh, I told my wife and I, we were having this conversation, I said, it's so funny, you can tell the people who are not Yucaipians because they hit those roundabouts and it freaks them
They have no idea what to do.
Yeah, and it's going up E, as you get to third, fourth, fifth, all right in that little area, it can be, if you're behind somebody who does not know roundabouts, that can be the most frustrating 2 minutes of your life.
If you're with somebody that doesn't know them, just have them drive around Yucaipa. You should be a pro by the
That's
time
right.
you finish.
Let's hit all
Lisa's
those.
definitely taking the lead on that.
Yeah.
That all the way up and down County Line Road now is roundabout.
I have a secret though.
What?
I'll share it on this podcast.
Okay.
The city's shared it before, but if you're in it, you own it. So just as you roll up to that roundabout, if there's a car in it, they own it. If
You
there's
wait.
nobody in it, you go in it, and then you own it, and everybody has to yield to you.
I like it. If you're in it, you own
own
it.
it.
right.
That's right.
I live my life though.
I'm not surprised.
Let's just
At
stick
all.
to roundabouts.
What's your favorite event out of all the ones you guys do?
Well, I love Winterfest.
Winterfest is great. I love that one too.
I love.
I love winter though. I
Christmas.
love Christmas. So
Yeah, I love Christmas too,
We've
and
had these conversations. I hate the winter, so I'm
yeah, he is not a Christmas fan whatsoever.
not Christmas or
No.
winter.
Either. I don't like being cold.
Okay.
Like a day like today, what do we got? 45 outside.
Yeah. Don't like
I'm
it.
already out.
No.
I like being hot. I like being. I would much rather some Florida weather.
I'm the same. I am the same. I love I love the summer. I don't enjoy the winter, but this is different. Have you ever watched a Hallmark movie with your wife?
He hates Christmas movies too.
I try so hard not to watch them.
Oh,
Our house is nonstop Christmas movies from like December 1, maybe even before that, but to Christmas, it's
My wife and her family they have these lists of these Christmas movies.
Oh, I love it.
It's every year.
I love
and
it,
it's
yes.
it's the
Home
National
Alone.
Lampoon-
Yeah.
National Lampoon. That one and then they quote from Elf.
oh yes.
And they quote
yes.
from them. So part of
love
their
it.
interaction with one another, and so since I wasn't, now my wife and I have been married. This is our 14th, coming up on our 14th anniversary next month.
Congratulations.
Yeah, she did. So 14 years together. So by now, unfortunately, I've seen National Lampoon a billion times. I can quote it
Oh,
myself.
good. Okay.
I will admit, the Winterfest that you guys do put on, it is amazing. I literally almost broke my back on that. I just
Oh yeah.
yeah. We need to talk about that. By the way, we were kind of chatting about that. Is any chance of that coming back if you have the right people involved? And
I know that's Elise's.
Yeah,
I know
Elise.
that's Elise's favorite. I think that one of the things about our department is we want to offer programs and services to the community, but we don't want to be a competitor to businesses.
Sure.
We want businesses to thrive. It's actually the reason festival started, was because they redid the infrastructure in the uptown, right? They changed the roads and put those, back in parking spaces, and they had this reopening,
Right.
and it was to help bring people to those businesses, because unique to Yucaipa is how far that uptown is from the freeway.
Yeah.
Right, you go to Redlands, it's what,
You're in the heart of
you're
it.
in, you get off the freeway.
You have to be specifically going there up to Uptown to get,
That's right.
something to draw them, right?
Right. And so some of those brick and mortars back in the day were talking about the struggle. And so the city partnered with them to have these festivals. So the Music and Arts Festival marked the beginning of the Farmers Market series that lasted all the way until Autumn Fest. And so those festivals stayed. The Farmers Market has come and gone. But with that is, I think, one of the best is Winterfest. And I just wanted to say one more thing of why it's my favorite, is that it literally makes, I think, dreams come true. Like, you're a kid and you're standing there in front of that stage, and we count down as a community to light this tree, and then all of a sudden it starts snowing.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was very cool.
Then, there's been years where we've had an ice rink. And so the first year it was small. The second year it got larger, and it was out. We learned some things. So it was outdoors. Well, then the third year when we went to do the ice rink, actually, no, it was the second year, huh?
Yeah.
The second year, the Live Oak Canyon Pumpkin Patch, they opened
They're
one
doing
that
it
year.
too, aren't they? That's right. I forgot
so-
about that.
As we were preparing for year 3, council said, we're not here to compete. So there's an ice rink in town now let's no longer do that ice rink.
Gotcha.
And so we pivoted and decided, okay, what else could we do? And that year we then decided to partner with the man himself, Santa. And we brought Santa's workshop to the festival, and we turned the inside theater into Santa's workshop, where you can...
That was well put together. Have you been in there with your kids or anything? It was, my kids were just blown away by that thing, because it's such an experience to go through the different sections, and then to see, my daughter was like, what? How did I get in this? This year they had this big thing, and we almost didn't get in because my wife showed up towards the end. We didn't realize we had to get tickets. Well, speaking to doing things just to make it easy for us, that was one of the things I called Elise. Said, hey, we didn't realize you had to reserve tickets early. They took care of the tickets and got it handled, and they got in. But it was like, my daughter went from completely like, oh no, to just, magical experience, It's wild in there, because it's very well done. It was very cool.
You start by helping the elves.
Is it? Yeah, very, very cool.
I just think it's such a magical time for kids, and we all know they grow up so fast.
Yeah.
And again, it's these memories. That's our goal. It's our goal is, you guys talk about Yucaipa the way you talk about it. We want others to say the same thing. But we want their children to say that. Like, I remember when I was growing up.
They will, I think.
We all went and lit our town tree, And I think that's that little special part. I know a lot of cities do tree lightings, but we want to continue to evolve and be different and special. And this year we did a Grinch themed, and so
The Grinch was great. The Grinch was funny. Cracked me
Well, I
up.
think you guys are definitely on the right track with that, right? I mean, getting that feedback from the community, what went well, what didn't go well.
Yeah.
So many event planners and city, we're going to stick with this. Maybe that theme isn't meeting that need, right? So I love that you're looking for that feedback, you're looking for that opportunity, you're looking for the deficit, kind of like what we say here on our team, and I think that definitely will serve you well moving forward. What's been the biggest challenge with creating events? What is something that every year seems to be that hurdle that you're having to go through? I know that's kind of a funny question.
That's the challenge with everything, I think, that comes with it, especially if we're looking to evolve it or change it a little bit based on feedback. Or I know a few years ago, this feedback, constant feedback. It's the same thing every year. It's the same thing
Really?
It's the same thing every year. And it's like, okay, well, how do we keep our footprint the same?
Right.
Sure.
For example,
Fresh.
you did an arts festival. That footprint's not going to change.
Yeah.
That's our parameter for the event. The only event that's going to change that is at Autumn Fest when we do the show and go, the car show. We extend down to Second Street just to do the cruise.
Give it a little something extra.
Yeah. So, but everything else is going to be in that footprint. And so I think we evaluate every single year of how we can improve what is taking place in that footprint. Yes, we still want to bring vendors. Yes, we still want to have a kid zone. We still want to partner with, this year we're bringing back the Gem and Mineral Society. They're a staple with it every year. But we've never incorporated the inside of the YPAC for YMAP, for the Music and Arts Festival. And this year, if I can say it, we're having a theater production inside the YPAC of The Wizard Box.
Oh, cool.
So it's going to be a real change, and I think it's going to bring that additional draw to the festival, bring more of the arts and music, the theater arts to it, and you'd be surprised at how many people still don't know about YPAC.
It's amazing, right? Talk to me a little bit about YPAC. How does that come about, and how does a small town like Yucaipa end up with something like that you would never? I mean, big cities don't have some of those things.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, we did it prior to, I've worked for the city now, I think going on 13 years, but prior to me being there, they did a community needs assessment, and number one on the list was a performing arts center.
It's cool.
It has been a project that was a long time coming, and the city acquired the land and the space up there, and it was part of the project to revitalize that uptown. And there was statistics that showed if you brought things like a performing arts center to that area, the traffic would increase, which would then pour into the businesses, people would return to the businesses, and you would have a lively uptown. And so that was the city's direction and the goal of the council. And then we opened this performing arts center in 2019, and we all know what happened soon after that. And
Great timing, right?
yeah, and so it closed. And then we were the first city to reopen. We wrote a plan to the county saying, hey, listen, we want to reopen. We'll do these pod things. And so we reopened as quick as possible. Unfortunately, we laid off almost, I'd say, half my department.
Wow.
Again, to look at that financial side of things and say, hey, look, we can't afford this when all these programs have been shut down. So we then pivoted and we reshaped that performing arts center and the council and worked with staff, and we decided coming out of COVID that it was going to be a rental only venue. And so because of the costs of performances and all these different factors, we decided it was going to be a rental only. But then we started to hear from the community, like, where'd the concerts go? Where's
Sure.
what's happening? We paid for this building.
A little
and now
taste of it, and then it was
that's right.
gone. Yeah.
And now the doors are shut.
Yeah.
And so then we decided, okay, we'll do very minimal. We'll do a few shows here and there. And now I'm really excited to announce that July 1, 2025, we're going to have our first full season at the Performing Arts Center.
Cool.
As
Awesome.
a Performing Arts Center, we're going to have indoor, outdoor shows.
Awesome.
We do have some really great outdoor shows coming.
Like a summer series type of thing?
Yeah, we're going to have a summer series. We're going to have an indoor series. We're going to have sponsorship opportunities for the Performing Arts Center. And so we're really excited to give this a chance. We'll have season tickets and really put our time and effort into what the original, I think, intent was of that building.
great. Get it back to that,
But
what
it's
you
got to
planned
be, how do we get to everybody? How do we tell them?
Right.
I tell this story recently a lot. I went out with my husband's friends. I had never met them from work, and these people lived in Yucaipa. It was like 4 couples. They all lived in Wildwood. And we were talking about, what do you do? And I talked about my career in the Performing Arts Center. They're like, oh, we've never heard of that. I'm like, you've never heard of it? You live in Wildwood and you never heard of the Yucaipa Performing Arts Center. I'm like, don't you drive up Yucaipa Boulevard? They're like, no, we don't like the roundabouts.
They take the really? Wow.
Well, it's funny, that's people, right? People are creatures of habit.
Creatures of
Right?
habit.
I live off of Wildwood myself. I'm up at the very top of the park. And it's funny, I go home in that direction. So I, on purpose, if I'm wanting to see something downtown, okay, change my whole mindset, change and so it's kind of creating that habit for people. But I definitely think, getting more regularity with that, like if you're doing the summer season, that will kind of, summer series, that'll definitely kind of spark some of that.
And I think that's kind of what happened is we just continuously, as you should, we listened to the community, the council provided direction, but I think changing every 6 months we need consistency. It's kind of the same with the ice rink. We still to this day get people like, why'd you get rid of the ice rink? We were just getting used to it. We were going to have our company party there.
Posted something not long ago.
It was a special experience for my kids and for us, and it's something different. But it is funny. I do notice when we drive by, it's like it was always empty, and I thought, but why did people? It's funny because a lot of people will say, "Why did you get rid of this?" Well, why didn't everyone show up? How do you get to that? That's the challenge, right?
The urgent care that you kind of need.
Yes,
right, absolutely. But it is. It's like, even with my job, you're marketing a plumbing company. We have trucks everywhere. I see people all the time that say, "We see your trucks everywhere. They're all over town," and I go, cool. We have a great group. We have a good business, a great group of customers that come in. But how do you get to all those people? How do you get them to pull the trigger to come to that or to use you? Or
when that moment happens, are you the first name?
Yeah.
In your case, okay, people are looking for entertainment. Do they know about Yucaipa? What we have?
Yeah. And it's weird because it's such a small town. You'd think it'd be so easy to just put a sign out on that boulevard and everybody who sees it will come by. It's not the case. You got to figure out some way to entice them or get them to think about that on the weekends.
Well, I do think one of the things that definitely will help you guys as you guys move forward, that downtown area with all the food, it has definitely stepped up, right? With Rebels opening, I think it's called Ortega's.
Number 2.
Opened up their little. It's kind of weird. Are they keeping the smaller?
Yes.
Tripping out about that.
Well, it's like Rosie's, right? It's the same company, isn't it? Little Rosie.
But these are literally like 500 drums.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, still, now you got that down there. I think as people start moving that direction and with some good signage down there about upcoming events, hopefully that's really going to kind of bleed out for people and they'll see more and more.
I can't believe you don't have to drive. You don't have to drive to LA. You don't have to drive to Redlands. You can see a high-end theater performance right now. You can see Freaky Friday at the Performing Arts Center, and we did announce. I think was it today or when did we announce? Just now that we're having Sarah Evans as an outdoor concert.
Are you really?
Concert at the YPAC.
I heard that name.
She's a country singer. Yeah. We had her. We used to do the Wagon Wheel Festival when I had that event a couple years ago, and we had her as one of our acts too.
Did you want me to sing one of her songs?
You go for it. Yeah. Let's see. Everybody sit back.
Oh, good God. Ladies and gentlemen,
Megan's actually going to be performing next week. She's going to be there all week long. If you guys want tickets,
free.
Should do a karaoke night. That would be cool.
That it's funny. My family and I, we like cruising. We love to go on cruises, right? And I like to look at those things of like, what do people like to do?
Yeah.
And karaoke nights, as much
karaoke's
as
so fun.
silly
No, it's great.
as they are, as goofy as they might seem,
Yeah.
those events draw in every time you go on a cruise. You can't even get a song, even if you wanted to sing. I mean, the line is 1,000 people long. It feels like. So,
Sam Manuel used to do we'd go to it. It used to do a live band, and then you go in. It was in this big bar area they had, but you could do karaoke with the live band, and they'd have performances. It was a blast. We used to do it all the time.
Oh yeah.
It was really cool. Yeah.
I did karaoke on a cruise. That was my last time I karaoke'd. It was packed. Okay, the room was packed. I was like,
you had to drink
a couple of cocktails.
yeah. It's my time to shine. Oh my gosh.
You're gonna love me.
My eyes were closed. I was singing, and then I opened them up, and I'm like, where all the people go?
all stared.
I am not kidding. That place cleared out faster than.
That's funny.
Well, you know what's funny? Talking about cruises. People have been drinking the drink package all day. Well, Carnival just cut it down to 13 drinks a day. So they're 13 drinks in, and I tell you.
Oh, they have a limit on what you can have.
Now they have.
They water them down. There's no way.
They actually change. Yeah, it used to be unlimited, right? Yeah, so people were, so since I'm part of their little royalty group or whatever, they send these little alerts, and now it's 13 drinks a day. I'm thinking, man, if someone's going through 13 years.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
They're hammered. But it's funny because I was laughing. People, I swear, 13 drinks in, they think they're Michael Wolfe.
Yeah.
They are.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm no drinks in it. I think I'm Mariah Carey, so and
I know I'm horrible, but I love to sing anyway. I don't even care. It's a fun time.
We were talking about a little bit earlier. One of the things as a sponsor and vendor of the city events that we do, I want to encourage people who are listening to this thing to give it a chance. So if you're going to work, if you want to have a place to set up your business, Yucaipa is a great place to do it for these events. And one thing that we've kind of chatted about, that it's seeing it from a whole year of sponsorship with you guys, is you have to give it time.
yeah.
So people look for, especially now, instant gratification, right? You think something, you put up one billboard, or you put up your booth one time, and now you should get these instant results. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
There's a thing called the rule of sevens in marketing, and it's you should be seen 7 times. People need to see you 7 times somewhere before it starts just becoming a natural thing that's what they think of, right? So if you're going to do events with these people, or with any cities that you work with, I would encourage everyone to sign up and keep doing the events. It's reasonable to do it, and it's something that gets your company out there, and eventually you'll start seeing those results. And if you do it the right way, and you partner it up with your social media and everything else you're doing, that's the key to kind of making this stuff work. I think it is with you guys too, with your events. It's consistency, and it's keeping it fresh, but also doing them at the same time, or the same events every year. So people are used to that being a part of their community. That's an important part.
Becoming part of their rhythm. Right?
Yeah, it is.
It's a hard thing, right? And business owners and event vendors, it's kind of hard to find that good middle ground, right?
Yeah.
Right.
What's that rhythm that, how can we create that rhythm with? I mean, you think about it like outdoor food vendors, right? I mean, like the ones, like some of those restaurants they'll have those the pull-up vendors, right?
Yes, Yucaipa, like Yucaipa has
and
that.
it's just a really cool little thing, and you can see that rhythm, right? Oh,
Right.
the barbecue place is back. Oh, the burger
Yep.
place is back, right? They do it right here next door over at the brewery next door here. They'll have different vendors come in. But, what's the next one? So the next one is
Autumn Fest,
Autumn
right?
Fest
Or no.
Easter, right?
No.
It's music and arts. That's right.
So
Yeah.
that's the next one.
That's our, yeah.
That's the big one.
But we do have, I do really enjoy that our extravaganza.
Yeah,
It's
that
for
one's
the
cool.
youth. It's every child loves to go hunt eggs.
Yep.
But we thought, what's the one thing you hear so often, and it's a big Facebook topic? There's nothing for the teens, right?
Yep.
Where's the bowling alley? Where's the movie theater? Where's the fill in the blank? And so we are trying to work with the youth advisory committee and just kind of keep our pulse on what do teens want? What do they want to see? How can we offer something? So we have a teen egg hunt with some epic prizes.
Oh, wow.
Last year,
My older one's like, damn.
yeah, see, yeah.
And that's a hard thing for families, right? It's having something that can be
Yep.
total family
Yep.
friendly, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're like I have a 20-year-old daughter, 15-year-old son, a 9-year-old, you get to this point where you got half the family that
Yeah.
wants to go and half doesn't.
Yeah, they don't want to be a part of it. Teenagers, my 17-year-old the same way. It's hard to get him to go do what we're going to take the 7 and 10-year-old to do. It's
Yeah.
it's not easy. There's something in it for him that's great, like a
Any
raffle item, then
Yeah.
that changes things. But
Do you
yeah,
want to give any ideas of what the epic prizes might be?
Oh, gosh.
What was it last year?
If it's for my daughter, is there an Ulta beauty card? in
Oh,
there?
that's a good one.
there you go. That's a good
one
idea.
to know. Oh, that's
Did you guys have a
really
TV
good.
or something too last year? That's a
Did you have a TV?
I thought so.
TV, bicycle, like
electric bike.
Oh, yeah. That was cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Girls get into middle school, high school, and it becomes all about
yeah.
makeup.
No, yes.
I can't tell you Ulta and what's that other one?
Sephora.
Sephora, oh my
Yes,
goodness.
I know. They can do makeup better than us. adults, man. Our parents, are you kidding? We try to wear makeup. They
I know.
lose their minds. We're such cool parents now.
Are there any big future plans for the city that you guys haven't discussed already? What's coming up?
Well, after the teen hunt is because I felt like you guys are feeling a little left out. So we're having
Yeah,
an adult.
what's up with that?
An adult egg hunt.
Oh, you are
grab
nice.
your spouse, okay, grab your friends,
Cool.
whoever you want, come out. We have epic prizes as well for adults. We have a Top Golf gift card,
Nice. Very cool.
Tommy Bahama chairs. I mean, if that doesn't say I'm a middle-aged...
I thought you were going to say shirt. I was going to say, okay, when I'm in.
I love myself a Tommy Bahama chair. It is at the Yucaipa Community Park.
Which one is that?
It's off of Oakland Road.
Where the
regional park.
yeah, where they have the basketball courts inside there and everything.
Okay, by
Yeah.
the community center.
Yes. It's,
Okay,
that park.
Perfect.
Yeah, and you'll find our company, Redlands and Airbush, at all of these.
Yeah.
So anyone who wants to come out and get some stickers or
We have our
free
own little
swag,
that we
yeah.
give away, yeah.
Yeah, we're creating this year because our event involvement's been such a focus. We're actually redoing our whole booth. We're going to go 10 by 20s now,
Nice.
and we're going to create some kind of system in there that has intention to get people involved with it.
very
So that's on our to do right now. That's what I'm working
Yeah,
on.
we definitely want to educate more. One
Yeah.
of the big things that we've noticed is some people really they want to fix their home. They want to get the projects really done, but unfortunately, they just don't have that knowledge of what's really affecting their home, how it's affecting their home. And so we definitely want to use those opportunities to create like a learning environment, give them a little bit more knowledge base, and whether they choose to go with us. I mean, obviously, we want to earn their business, but the bigger piece is allowing them to understand what's affecting them and how they might be able to prevent that from happening. So it's kind of a really cool interaction.
Yeah. A little veering off a little bit off course here. Question that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if you have any info on this, but with the fires that have just happened recently, right? So that affected a lot of people in our community because the power outage, right there. So is there any kind of community outreach things or any things that people can go to when something like that happens to ease that, to help that?
Well, currently the city is partnered with Southern California Edison, and they are in the parking lot of the community center on days where it's rainy, like today. They're inside the community center. They're giving away chargers for your phones.
Oh, wow.
They're giving away all different types of resources for you to have available. And really, we just want to educate the community that the city of Yucaipa does not run the utilities. They are ran by Southern California Edison. They should be your number one resource. We want to help. We understand that it was a burden. We understand that, some people lost thousands of dollars of worth of food or other things, medicine that needed to be refrigerated. And we take that seriously, and we want to be an avenue of communication. And so you can go to our website and find some resources. And the city management team, as well as city council, they're working hard. They're on Zoom calls to say, how do we improve in the future? How do we give correct information? How many of us got those text message that said your power's going out, and then it didn't go out, and then we didn't get a text message, and then the power went out? And so
that was a challenge. We went 4 days without power at our house, and it was like, thank God I had a way to plug in my truck to the house a little bit, but that's tough. I can't imagine if you had nothing for 4 days.
Yeah.
But that's that thing we talk about. It's like, how do you get to all the people? Because I didn't even realize there was an Edison thing at the community or regional park there, or community park. So that's hard to get that info to everyone.
Yeah, it really is. And that's kind of back to just the city, I'd say, early January 2024 adopted goals, and one of those was a communication plan. How do we communicate to our residents? And is it, what avenues? Facebook, a podcast. The city started a podcast.
I saw that.
Instagram, really mailers to your home, but then that costs money, and so it's balancing all of these things. And we think social media is the answer, but then when you don't have a cell phone because you don't have power and you couldn't charge it, well, how are we getting you that information? So while I don't have the perfect answer, I can say that the city's leaders have been working hard to come up with some solutions and plans for the future, and we know that it did negatively impact a lot of people.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you can do what you can do. We're kind of getting towards the end here, so we'd like to do a couple of rapid fire questions just for fun. Okay. Favorite local spot in Yucaipa, both of you. How about Elise first?
Yucaipa. It's a little Thai place.
I've never been there. I've heard about it.
My son talks about it all the time.
Does he?
I don't eat Thai food, but my son's all the time like, Dad, sure is.
Oh yeah, you gotta try
It
it.
looks like a little hole in the wall.
Elise introduced me to it. My whole family is hooked
everybody
now.
eats there?
Oh, it's so good.
That's
All right, what is yours?
How you?
Mine, I'd say it's tied. I gotta go with the OG Rosie's.
That's one of my favorites. We just went there the other night too. That's a good spot.
Tortillas.
Yeah, that burrito, that tortilla is something.
I don't know. I'm a foodie, so. And then the next thing, nothing has my heart more than a piece of bread sitting in a pond of butter.
Oh, you're talking about that.
Toscano.
Oh my Lord, so good.
But I had 2 architects this year.
Yeah, that might not be good.
All right, don't do that.
But
Then.
that bread is amazing.
my
My son is a monstrous fan.
Oh yes.
Those sandwiches
Monstrous,
are
yeah.
Yes, Monsters is great. The owners
cool.
are great. I take my kids at least once a month on a little treat to Roundabout Sweets there on the corner.
I'll tell them Jersey Mike's and they're like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Dream event in Yucaipa, if it's not one we're already doing, what would you, if you could just, unlimited budget. Ice rink, there you go. Okay.
No, a dream event.
Yeah, what would
think
your,
the ice
if you had unlimited budget
Yeah.
and said, do what you want, what would you
Oh,
do?
if it was, do what you want, there's, no budget. Oh yeah, I'll bring the ice cream back. I do so much. I dream about it.
You're right. I could tell when we mentioned it a couple months ago, you were like, oh, let me tell you, you need to talk about
that's
that.
an idea, something I tell Mike we need to do here. We have a lot of Jeep people in Yucaipa. I'm a Jeeper. We need to have like some Jeep events.
We used to do
That'd
these Friday nights. That was that Music and Arts Festival to Autumn Fest, and I forgot what the name. Uptown Friday Nights, and they were themed. And every 4 weeks, the theme would repeat itself. And one of the themes was 4x4s, and
Cool.
the Jeeps would park on top of each other. It was so cool. My dream event would be kind of probably alongside Elise's. I want from First Street to Adams Street on Yucaipa Boulevard and on California Street from Acacia to Avenue A. I want to turn that just into a winter wonderland. I want
cool.
every tree covered in a Christmas lights.
Yeah.
I would love to see that all turn into like a different theme each year. But you enter that, even if you entered at Second Street Roundabout and it just was Christmas
Totally
town.
done.
I
be
think
cool.
you'd really love it. We might win you
We
over.
might turn you.
But we definitely would have your wife and her family.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, since we lost Manning Street, it's just like heartbreaking. The guy John who used to run that's a friend of mine, and he told me, he goes, number one, I'm moving, but he says, I was doing mostly. I can't do it anymore. It's too much.
Well, yeah, the whole block doing it.
Yeah, it was, and
For a while, it was just him and his house.
yeah. Well, he had told me, he goes, I have to kind of head up everything and help it connect. And he says, dude, I start 3 months in advance, and he goes, it's just too much. He was getting to where he could not. It was becoming a chore and not something
And
he enjoyed.
people,
it was
they were.
so good.
It was amazing. But people, they didn't respect it. There
No.
were dirty diapers in the street.
Yep.
There was trash. It
Yeah.
was this beautiful thing that I felt like was taken advantage of almost. And
Yeah.
earlier you asked about a challenge, and I know we got to wrap up here, but I think people have kind of become the biggest challenge.
Sure.
I've always been
Sure.
that person that I love people. I love communicating. I love a table like this and talking, but I think the last couple years have been challenging. It just seems like we can't make anybody happy.
Yeah.
It seems like everyone's just so quick to go from good to upset about something, and it's like, hey, let's have a conversation about it. And Manning Street's a perfect example.
Yeah.
And so I listen to this radio station, and it says, it's about being good people. If you can't find one, be one.
Right.
Yeah.
And
People have changed the last, recently in the last handful of years. It is that 2020 hit, and people are just unbearable sometimes. There's a lot of good people still, but it's very
There
hard to police people
We've
now.
gotten to be a really selfish society.
Yeah, we have.
And that lack of care for one another just really kind of shows through it. It is
Yeah.
And I think just, we want to help people be happy and,
Right.
and bring back that joy
Right.
that we used to see. And again, there's such great people still.
Yeah, there is.
And
Yeah.
that's I think the best part of Yucaipa is the people.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think if we could continue that, through this podcast, through our experiences with your customers, with our customers, with our partners, like let's
That's how
have
we build it. Yeah.
the fact that you guys are able to talk to us like, hey, we really appreciate the sponsorship, but could we maybe do this instead? We're like, what? We never
Yeah.
saw that. Absolutely.
We know it's going to be heard when we say that. So, but I want to recommend everybody to give the city of Yucaipa a call. And if you're a vendor or sponsor, it's a great place to do it, But yeah, thank you guys for coming in.
Yeah, you guys
It's really
did
nice
great.
hearing all this stuff.
First podcast, you guys did great.
Yeah.
So-
If you guys want, if there's anything you want to mention about websites or anything where they need to go to find out information for events or what sponsorships or anything, or
Well, just our community services website.
Cool.
I think we list all of everything that we do as a department is on there. We just launched our winter spring guide.
Oh, great.
It's on there for download, and it has everything in there from programs, classes, events.
Download, look it up, put it on the fridge.
Yeah. Make sure, as usual, inside the red truck, you can follow us on Spot. You can go into Spotify and find us. We're on there now. We'll be on Apple soon. We're working on that.
Spotify stuff.
Yeah, we are on there. So you just search inside the red truck. All our social medias is going to be Redlands and Henry Bush. So anybody who wants to look into us, make sure you subscribe, like us, and do all that, and then follow the city. And
Thank you guys for coming in.
Thanks again for coming in.
You did a great job, and listen, you guys do a great job in Yucaipa. It's a beautiful place to live, and
Absolutely.
you guys are just adding to that. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, that wraps it up. Thanks, guys.